Hello. We are going to take this lovely lady in at the bust. This will be super simple, and I've included chapters in this video, so if you want to dive right in, just hit the chapter called Let's Go. She's from, I'm gonna guess the 80s. This is a great princess cut strapless dress. It has shirring at the back and at the neckline to create this sweetheart neckline. There is a peak at the center front waist. If you're around this channel a lot, you know I'm obsessed with the 16th century coding there. And there is some boning along the princess seams. We are not taking a large garment and turning it into a small. The dress fits perfectly, except for the bust, specifically the cup area. The side seams hit where they're supposed to, so the overall chest is correct, but I'd estimate this is cut for a C or even a D cup, and I am not a C or a D cup. So we need to take out some volume from the cup area without taking too much away from the chest. To make this just a teensy bit more complicated, there is a facing along the neckline, and I think I want to remove the boning altogether. Look, I'm all for boned garments, but other than perhaps keeping the seam straight, I don't see the value in these bones, and they're molded to the large cup size. They're also kind of digging into my rib cage as we speak. Let's go. I need to change out of this so that I can alter it, but also so that I don't flash anyone. All right, I've put the dress on inside out so that we can fit it. Actually, it looks kind of cute, just like this little deconstructed moment. The good thing about a princess cut is that when you have a seam that goes directly over the bust, makes it very easy to take in the bust. When it's like this, you can very clearly see that these are way too big for my body. What I'm gonna do is just kind of pinch them to where they need to be. As I'm pinching this, I'm also looking at the tension that I'm creating, so I don't want this to get too taut to where it starts to bubble or create lines. The main area where that's gonna happen probably is right here at the front. Like, you can already see that I'm getting some tension lines there if I pull too hard. I'm putting a couple of straight pins in it. You can also use safety pins just to make sure that I am holding that alteration in place. I'm just kind of marking out approximately where the excess is. So now I know approximately how much excess is in one cup. I could just take this and mirror it to the other cup, but I want to actually mark that out as well, again, to make sure that I don't have any tension happening in the front. This looks very silly from the side. But now I've got both of my cups marked to the correct size. The boning is kind of pulling things all out of whack right now, but I think that once we remove the boning, this will all be a little bit more flat. Now that I have the alteration marks roughly marked, I'm going to take this off and lay it out flat so that I can make those marks a little bit smoother. Be careful if you've used straight pins like I have, because these can poke you. All right, so now I've got my dress. Let's see what we have. This is the garment. These pins are currently marking the alteration, so this is all the excess that we're taking out. This is where the cup begins, so we're essentially taking out all of the volume at the cup. What I want to do is mark a stitch line in pen or pencil, but before I do that, I want to take out the boning so that I have the flattest surface possible to mark on. And this facing isn't actually attached to anything, so I can flip it up. The boning channel is one with the princess seam and is pressed towards the side seam at the facing and stitched into the facing, so I first need to remove the stitches holding it in place. You can also see the bodice has an interfacing, which is the sheer white layer on the inside of the bodice. Okay, now that we've released the stitching at the top, the boning is accessible. I'll also take a moment to note that the idea of standard or even right or wrong construction is an absolute myth. I've poked around inside a lot of vintage and antique garments, and while some methods are more common than others, I have never seen two garments, even garments that are nearly identical, that were made the exact same way. All that's to say, if you're doing a similar alteration, you may need to poke around to figure out the best way to complete these steps. This is plastic boning, which is not surprising. Almost all post-19th century boning is plastic, and one key issue with plastic boning is that it warps in the dryer. And this is why it was digging into me. I may need to add new boning to my seams eventually. We'll see how they hold up once I get it on, but this boning definitely has to go. There can be quite a bit of ease or subtle gathering in princess seams, so if you remove the boning and the seam still isn't lying flat, you may have to release the entire princess seam. This one is pretty flat, so we're ready to begin marking. You will probably want to use something washable to mark the stitch line. Pencil is a good option, but I find pencil can create some friction and I want something that's going to glide a bit easier. Good old washable Crayola marker works great. I'm marking the pinned points and then removing the pins because they can create some warping in the fabric. I'm blending the stitch line into the existing stitch line about mid rib cage since I don't want to remove any width from the bottom of the torso, and connecting to the top of the stitch line at the facing because I don't want to remove any width there either. Making these points where the alteration meets the existing stitch line as smooth as possible is key here because it will ensure a smooth, even alteration all around. As long as you know where to stitch, these lines do not have to be perfect. Remember, this is washable ink. I'm inserting pins perpendicular to the new stitch line because that will avoid warping. If you do have a sewing machine, happy stitching. If not, watch on for a machine-free hand stitching tutorial. I'm using a sharp needle with the smallest eye that I can thread. A small eye ensures the holes left by this needle will be very small. Believe it or not, thread quality counts. I love Gutermann Sew-All thread. Coates & Clark is okay too. You'll probably want to use poly thread because cotton thread can shrink in the wash. For this we'll use a single threaded needle, meaning I put the thread through the eye and pull the thread through only about halfway. This leaves a tail of thread that I'll have to mind as I'm sewing. I'm anchoring the thread about 1 stitch into the old stitch line with a back stitch, meaning I take the stitch twice, but you can also make a knot in the thread to anchor the stitch. Okay, it's a bit hard to actually see the stitching happening on the alteration piece because I'm stitching on yellow material with yellow thread and there's also that interlining. So this is a separate piece that I'm using just to show y'all how to do the stitch. I'm going to use a back stitch for the new stitch line, which is a very strong stitch. I take the new stitch by piercing the needle back through the previous hole, then bringing the needle forward on the other side of the fabric 2 stitch lengths. This means the thread is doubled in the back and the single in the front. I'm going to continue the stitch along my marking, anchoring the stitch with another double back stitch at the end of the alteration. If you want a reversible alteration, you can leave this as is, but there is a bit of excess bulk here at the apex of the bust, which is not a place that you want excess bulk, trust me. So I'm going to use a ruler to measure the seam allowance of the rest of the garment, which is about 5/8 of an inch, and I'm going to mark the altered area to the same. I'm just going to snip off that extra bit here. And this is a serged seam, and while I do have a serger, I promised a machine-free alteration so I can hand finish this edge with a blanket stitch. The thread used for the serge is white and a bit thicker than mine, so I'm going to double my thread, or pull the thread through the needle so that the ends are even, and stitch with double thickness. First thing, let's get rid of these cut stitches. Okay, I'm anchoring the stitch with a little knot to begin. This stitch comes up over the edge of the fabric, so I am holding the thread in a loop above the edge of the fabric, plunging the needle into the fabric from front to back about 1/4 inch from the edge, then bringing the needle up the back and then through the loop. This creates a nice sort of chain at the top of the stitch and won't stop the fabric from fraying, but it will slow down the fray. Anchoring with another knotted stitch again when I meet the other side of the original serge. You could absolutely slide a piece of boning or even a zip tie with the square end snipped off into the boning channel, but I'm going to leave mine unboned. Lastly, I need to restitch the top of the seam to the facing. I'm just holding the seam allowance flat against the facing seam allowance and connecting the two existing lines of stitching. And here she is. There's a lot of talk right now, as there always has been, trust me, about body shape and idealized silhouettes, and a lot of acceptance around both natural bodies that don't adhere to an idealized silhouette and bodies that have been altered to adhere to an idealized silhouette. I'm here to say, you do what you need to do to make yourself comfortable and happy. Just know it is possible to make the dress fit you. If you enjoyed this video, I always appreciate a thumbs up, and hit subscribe if you were intrigued by the 1 or 2 lines of historical analysis I did in the beginning, because that is actually our brew here. I have a very complex make that I'm just finishing up now, so you can expect that video shortly. Bye!